Of the 12th June this year, we had the demise of Silvio Berlusconi. He was the prime minister in 4 governments, media tycoon. He was the billionaire starting with the properties and one of the wealthiest people in Italy. I would like to focus on the Mars position in this chart, its dasha position and the yogas. Yogas are the planetary relationship which are giving rise to a specific circumstances and events in the native's life. We were talking about 3 types of level and 2 types of translation. We have the level of symbolism, which is then translated to ideas in the Western paradigm and energies in the Eastern paradigm. And then we have this conventional knowledge, how these ideas are translated into the real scenario circumstances. We had like 12 days break because of my focus and preoccupation with the courses. We are finishing the first module. We are on the characteristic of the planets. The next one would be characteristic of the houses, and then we will soon start the new module of this Vedic course. I'm not into this right-wing politics he was representing, so I rather abhor all these perspective or views for building of the future for the country. But let's just step away from the politics and just analyze this from the Jyotish perspective. So here it is very interesting because one karmic seed or karmic element represented by the Mars is giving its substance or its contribution to 4 seemingly non-related areas like health, properties, relationship and enemies. It would be wrong to isolate and only restrict this one position to one area or only, even the worse, one event in that area. So this is very much temptation, because when we see the chart, we want to see those events of the native and represented by that planet, but we have to understand that there are only 9 planets and we have a whole life, so they will be contributing to many areas, many events, so we need to maintain more this eagle view perspective. But also we have to learn the tools, we need to develop them later to restrict all this area and make these events more detailed for that specific areas like health, property. So how this and when this will exactly manifest, we can for example use the Varga chart for this. So Mars is indeed very interesting planet. I like this compensation psychological mechanism which was brought especially by one of the greatest psychologists, Adler. It means that those with the little inner strength will shout the loudest. They will have the biggest cars, biggest watches. They will like to have big properties, somehow to compensate that feeling of being not enough. So the levels must be equal. We have nice book on the market about this Adler philosophy, Courage to be Disliked. Although I'm not agreeing to the whole assumptions in this book, there are definitely many interesting insights. So if you have the chance to grab this book, it will definitely enrich your perspective of many such psychological mechanisms. So whilst reading his biography, we know that he had 3 marriages, and we would like to understand what would be the tools to time all of these, especially the second and third. And there could be a different way for different dashas, and for Vimshotri dasha we need to see the specific houses in the navamsha. So for the first relationship we need to see the 7th house, for the second we need to see the 2nd house because it's 8 from the 7th, and for the 3rd marriage we need to see the 9th house. But before that we need to see what's going on in the Rashi, because the main karmic dynamics will be seen by 7th Lord Venus, Titi Lord, and most important Upapada. So here we can see that the 7th Lord Jupiter is in the marana karaka sthana, which is not the best for the first marriage. This will also have an interesting role for properties, which we will discuss soon. And what is very important, don't forget, not only left the analysis with the 7th Lord, but see the 7th Lord relationship with the Venus. And here we have the second 12th relationship, which may add to this instability of relationship. Also the position of Venus in the 2nd house is not the best. The person was born on Chaturdashi Tithi, and the effect of Tithi is always read through the moon, and moon is in the 6th house of weaknesses. So this can also inspire us. This is, like my gurus say, is incentive to analyze this further. And now we have this Mars and the Venus yoga, which is very famous Bahustri yoga, giving many relationship, Venus and Mars on the second house in the Rashi, which is something. But in the Navamsha, this is much more serious, and we have this yoga also influencing or having impact on the second house in the Navamsha. So there is a risk some affair or many relationship, depending how this yoga is serious in the chart. What is also very important is that this Jupiter is atmakaraka, so the relationship with the karaka here is also 2nd and 12. So this is not only the mental level, but also something more subconscious, more deep, because this is on the level of spirit, which is the level of karakas. This is the special hierarchy of the planet based on the degrees, which is adding another layer of significance. So it is helping us to analyze our life with another important level of the spirit, which is often correlated to our subconscious mechanism, what's going on in our more deep type of psychological functions we have. So now let's see the dashas. The affair with the future second wife started already in the Mars dasha, which is the second house in the Navamsha. Based on that, we can see that the Navamsha in Vrisha or Taurus is accurate. The first marriage was in Sun, Rahu is in Lagna, aspecting 7th lord. So 7th house or lord has to be activated to bring the marriage with the first spouse. Then we have a Jupiter Antardasha, which finally gave the marriage with the second one, because Jupiter is aspecting now the second house in the Navamsha. I think the separation or divorce with the first one was in the Venus, which is the 6th lord, and also in the 8th house. Finally, the third marriage, we need to expect 9th house being activated. So it is Makara, Nakra or Capricorn sign, Rashi, and it's loaded by Saturn. And exactly at Saturn Dasha has started, the person married for the third time. So we see how 7th house has activated first marriage, 2nd house the second marriage, and the 9th house was activating to the third marriage. We will then analyze the health and the demise timing, and we will see how this also is depicting the person's life in very much accuracy. So it's not that we are changing the asanas how we want and we have free space and free ways to do it, but we are restricted by other areas of life and also by other events. So it's more like calibration. Every part of the chart must fit with every part of person's life. Okay guys, if you like this video so far, please don't forget to click the thumbs up. It really helps with this algorithm to make it more visible on YouTube platform. Also subscribe with the bell notification on if you'd like to be notified about similar videos in the future. Now let's go back to this analysis. Now the third part, this is the property. This is normally Mars and Saturn, because the Saturn is the lord of the sign in which Mars is exalted. So often this yoga Mars and Saturn is bringing many properties, and we see that 10th lord from the moon is very much connected to this Mars and Saturn axis. I wonder if that position of 6th house and the moon is not bringing that whole concept of the community, because he was not only building like properties, it was the whole areas of building like big places in which he started like a place for new communities. It was like building a society. And someone can say how it is possible for the 4th lord with such bad position to promote that, but exactly this yoga 4th lord in the 3rd house is perfect. It's the best yoga for selling properties. So if you have this yoga in your chart, you may consider doing that. If you have a job where the property needs to be stable and it's fixed all the time the same, then this yoga may bring you the losses. But if the properties are sold all the time, then exactly this yoga 4th lord, and here it is connected to the 7th lord of a business. So this is how he was started, and then he moved to the media business. So we see how in the Navamsha, 7th lord is Jupiter in the own sign, giving effects to the moon. Now moon is aspected by Saturn and Mars, which is showing the properties, but also is aspected by Mercury in the Libra sign, so that Mercury Venus is bringing that media business, and exact yoga Mars and Saturn, also the Saturn as Libra is promoting business. So we see how the Dashamsa is very much reflecting the situation. And then we also have this health and enmity. We know that the demise happened in the Moon Mars, we see that Mars is a 12th lord in the navamsha. So it is showing that from the health perspective, the navamsha lagna is also accurate, and periods related to the 8 or 12 will be very dangerous for the person's life. So this is how we time the dangerous, potentially health problematic periods in person's life. We can, of course, to confirm that with other dashas, but this Vimshotri here, especially from the moon, we need to take, because the other parts we did from the Kshema Vimshotri. If the moon is in the 6th or 2nd, we are using the special variation of Kshema. But for health, we can use the moon Vimshotri. And he was also attacked very much on one of the rally in the Mercury Antardasha. And Mercury is also related to that Mars of 12th house. So he was hospitalized after this attack. And we can see that this 12th house is always activated when the health of the person is in danger. So the Navamsha Lagna here for this chart is very accurate. And Mars in the 12th house would definitely have impact on any disease or the cause of demise related to the blood. So for this heart diseases or blood related diseases, it would be Moon and Mars often related. And we know that the cause or the what brought the hospitalization in that final part was leukemia, which is the blood cancer. If you'd like to have your chart analyzed, Rashi Navamsha Dashamsa, with the main focus on the health, relationship or career life, or whatever area you like to discuss, providing the main remedies to block the negatives, emphasize the best part of your chart and life, then hit me up in the email below and we can schedule the consultation for you. Okay guys, so that's gonna be it for this video. I hope this again gave you some additional tools to your Jyotish arsenal, which will make your reading of the chart easier. If you feel that it brought you some value, please don't forget to click the thumbs up, subscribe with the bell notification on if you'd like to see similar videos in the future. If you'd like to revisit your basics about the houses, please consider watching this video here.